are these kids that go through these things with you and they have a handful or maybe more of a handful of experiences with your program? How do they get that experience into the younger kids in the community?
Yeah, that's a great point. So when I started this program, it was never intended as a little kid thing. It was intended as a varsity-like experience. Football played a very, very big role in me becoming a young man. And it was because of the hard things that you had to do. It was because of fighting the argument with what we call the baby voice in your head that wants to just not take it easy, don't do hard things. And what we say is, we all have that voice that says, I don't think you can do this. And we want to force that conversation and keep going. So what has happened is the younger guys see what the older guys are doing and they want to be a part of it. So on our Saturday workouts, I've had to adjust because I can't have somebody who's in fourth grade do a workout that's designed to go 54 miles, right? I don't want to scar them. I want them to be enthused. I want to challenge them, but at the same time, they're not developed enough to be able to get the full value out of something that really challenges you as somebody that's in high school. So, so we dial it back on Saturdays, and we will tailor the workout to whoever shows up. And then a lot of times what we'll do is we'll hold a workout on Sundays for the older guys when we need to go out and do something a little bit more intense. But that's been a cool thing that was an unintended benefit of this is really drawing in the younger guys. And then I've had to be a little bit more nimble in how we design what it is we do for whoever shows up.
So what do they do during the week? I mean, you're doing all these things over the week, and obviously, because maybe you got other things going on during the week. But to do one workout a week, um, and from what I'm hearing, they're pretty intense. Unless you're doing something else during the rest of the week, it can actually get pretty painful pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, and so we talk about that. Um, our mission is to build a strong community, and you can't build a strong community unless you're strong yourself. And I'll ask the guys at our first workout of the season, what does it mean to be strong? And everybody will talk about, lift heavy weights or go far distances. And both of those are correct answers. But being strong from our perspective is bringing your best energy to the moments that matter most. And what you need to do that is you need to be consistent, but you also need to really think about those four building blocks of energy, which start physically, then go up emotionally, mentally, and then spiritually. And spiritually, not necessarily religious, it can be, but more, are you living consistent with the principles that you hold true? And so that's the concept of strength. We've focused really on the physical. And so to get physically strong, you need to focus on four things also: sleep, nutrition, movement, and then we focus on breath work. So after our workouts, we'll do about 5 minutes of breath work to calm the system down. We talk about consistency and that you can't go hard every day. You've got to have. There's a book, The Power of Full Engagement, written by Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz, that talks about life isn't a marathon, but a series of sprints, periods of intense engagement followed by periods of intentional disengagement. It's in that disengagement that you grow. It's in that disengagement that you recover and you build the muscle. You don't build the muscle by working hard. That's how you break it down. So we focus a lot on that and giving the kids the skills to understand at least what these things mean. We talk about sleep, like I said, sleep, nutrition, movement, breath work. Sleep's at the top for a reason, but I mean, I know that they don't listen to me. I wouldn't listen to me if I was their age, right? You got to learn that on your own. But at least if I'm talking to them about it, somebody's saying something about it. When I was that at their age, nobody was telling me that. I just did whatever I wanted to do. I ate whatever I wanted to eat, and just would figure it out. And a lot of times, from a nutrition perspective, they don't have a lot of control of that either because there's not a whole lot at home. So if we can just at least talk about, proteins, carbs, fats, what it means to eat healthy, then at least they're aware of it. They know that if once they get hopefully get to the point where they can have those choices, that they make the right choices. I can't remember the question you asked, but I think that hit it.
No, yeah, no, actually, it does address it. It does address because then it is those principles that then get them to during the week when you're not pushing
Right.
them,
Not
that they
together.
have the
Yep.
foundation to push themselves to be ready for the next weekend, right?
Yeah. Well, we have one thing. So at the end of every spring, once lets out, we lose all momentum because you lose the structure of the school year of the school day. So we started this about 4 or 5 years ago. The Give Team 15, and it is a series of 15 exercises over 15 minutes, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. And we do it as a warm up for our workouts, but it can be an ass kicker in and of itself. So we have the Give Team 15 challenge in June, where we open it up to the team, and I tell the guys $100 to anybody who does the Give Team 15 every day for the month of June. And so we'll be out on social media. Everybody will see. And I say you have to. The rule is you have to do it before 9 o'clock. Have to get up early and do it. Early at 9 o'clock is early in the summer. So get up before 9. You have to send me a video before 9 o'clock of you doing it, or a picture honor system, a picture of you before or after doing it. The aftermath is fine. And you just got to do the work. And it's one of those Give Team rules that we have is you know consistency is what gets you the results. It's the goals don't get you the results. The planning doesn't get you the results. It's what you do that gets you the results. And so that helps them get engaged and stay engaged and do something physical through the week. And then in mid month, what we do is we open it up for our community to say, all right, you guys do what the Give Team does for the last 15 days of the month. They'll have 15 days to see the guys do it. Last 15 days of the month, you all do it and post about it, tag the Give Team so that everybody, and that gets a little adrenaline to the team to see other people out in the community are doing what they're doing. So they're not alone. Even though they're alone by themselves doing it a lot of times, they're not alone overall because somebody in California is doing it or somebody in Boston's doing it, which gives them a little bit of excitement. It's always really cool when you're in high school and somebody's paying attention. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Tell me something. One of the other topics that came out of those couple of meetings that I had out there in the community center was the fact that it was difficult to get kids involved into activities for two reasons. Well, three reasons. One we already talked about, which was the transportation, how to get the kids, back and forth. But the other two reasons I'm sorry, the impact of social media in their lives today and the interest that their family had on the activities themselves, right? So if mom and dad or just mom or just dad or grandma and grandpa didn't really see the value and push them to go, the kids really wouldn't go on average, right? And then the distractions of social media and the TikTok and this and that and the likes and so forth. Have you seen the same kind of things? And if so, how have you managed to get them to keep coming?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's I think a challenge of our society today. Um, Part of it is leveraging social media as a vehicle to show the world what our guys are doing, so they see that. And at the same time, I cannot minimize the benefit of New Image Youth Center at the foundation of this. I've My dream for the Give Team is to set up other programs, other chapters throughout the country, and I've worked with a couple people who have flirted with the idea. And as I've thought about it, a big challenge is exactly what you're saying, which is where are you going to draw your kids? I have the benefit of knowing a lot of these kids, even if I don't know them real well. I kind of know how they were raised because they came up through the center. So I know that there's a foundation there. And then I will connect with the parents to make sure that they're involved. I mean, that's important. I didn't do that at first. I was fortunate in that I had a group of guys who that really the initial group that really just wanted to do it. And I got to know the parents, but it was more tangentially than it was intentional. And now it's an intentional thing. In fact, I want parents to come join us for a workout. I mentioned how I'll tailor it for whoever comes. If there's somebody who comes with a bad knee, well, we'll adjust what we do. Somebody comes with, whatever the issue might be, we'll adjust it. But if you can move, come join us. That's really the whole thing. Again, building a strong community means involving the community.
Oh, exactly. I went through your webpage and I loved you have the give team rules. So I'm
Hmm.
sure there's a story behind that, especially because there's 89 rules. Tell me a little bit more about that and how did that come to life?
So it started with the first one, which is our team motto. No matter how little you have, you always have something to give. If you don't have money, give time. If you're too busy, give effort. If you're too tired, give a hug, give a smile, give a compliment, give kindness. But whatever you do, be strong, give more. You get stronger by giving, not by getting. So that's our first. No matter how little you have, you always have something to give. That's our first motto. And then the second one, which is almost as strong as the first, is life is a team sport. Draft accordingly. So we do far more together than we do apart. This concept of team is really important with what we do, and knowing that we're always looking to build our team. That we all have people who are on our team who we know will help us get where we want to go. At the same time, there are people on our team that might not get us where we want to go. We need to make sure that we put them where they belong. Some of you can't kick off your team. There might be some members of your family that are getting in the way of where you want to go. You can't kick a family member off your team, but you can acknowledge the role that they play and make sure that you put them where they belong on the team. And then it just followed from there. And to be honest, most of those rules came about during a workout when I was just this side of having a heart attack. And I'd come up with, oh, hey, this is a good idea. So I'd write it down. Some of them are stolen. In fact, most of the concepts here, almost all of them are, pulled from somewhere that is not me. It's just assembling it in a way that, you know, is malleable enough and resonates enough with the kids we have working with us.
Yeah, no, I love them. I went through them and there was a handful of them. I mean, again, I all of them resonate in some way or form. There was a couple of them that were I thought were very interesting because they're right in alignment with a lot of the stuff that I do for the mentoring that I do. And I think it was I wrote it down here, number 24. Thoughts lie, words lie, actions never lie. And I tell you, Brad, that is one of the hardest things to convey to people these days. Uh, we live in a time where humans are more certain about more things than than in recorded history. I'm a little bit of a history fan, so I tend to go back hoping to find answers for current problems, and we just seem so certain about so much, and then that allows us to then get stuck and then be okay with that stuck, and we don't realize that from a neuroscientific point of view we really shouldn't believe everything we think, and we shouldn't believe everything we believe. We should question everything, and the moment you put that out there in front of a person, you get this look, you get this resistance. But the reality of it is our mind lies to us all the time. And people don't realize that our brain, in its evolutionary process from the last 3 million years, it's looking for the easiest pathway. It's looking for the path of least energy consumption because that's its job. Its job is to manage the energy consumption throughout the whole body of every organ, every function, every process. So it's looking to do less because that's how we stay alive, at least from an evolutionary point of view. But that goes against what we're trying to do here. We're trying to grow, we're trying to challenge ourselves. And to do that, we really have to challenge what we think. So as I read that, I'm like, well, this was an interesting one. How do you tell that to teenagers? in the community, and what kind of reactions do you get from them?
Yeah, I think so. If you take what you said, right, that people know what they know and they think they know everything. The result of that is a lack of empathy. And if you don't have empathy, then we're breaking, the fundamental or the foundation of society is, I think, crumbling if you can't relate to those who are around you. With as young men and women, right? I mean, I remember this in high school. There was this fragile invincibility that I had. I was all state in high school in football, and I got good grades, and I was going to go conquer the world. At the same time, that was very, very fragile because there was a level of overconfidence mixed with this uncertainty, and something that I think gets cured with the right exposure and getting exposing yourself to the hard stuff. So if we're going to build a strong community, the way you do that is by doing uncomfortable things. And if you know it all, then there's no discomfort in that. You're already comfortable, right? So, you know, I've learned so much in putting myself into spots where I did not feel comfortable at all. And if I go in there with a mind to learn, and figure out things instead of coming in thinking that I already know everything, then I change, and then hopefully the energy that I'm giving out helps change everybody around me. But I agree with you 100% that I call it, we've got this crisis of community in our country right now that stems from the this false confidence of knowing everything because you have access to everything, and not challenging those things that you already know, and listening to that voice, as you said, right? Listening, and we call the most powerful voice between your ears the baby voice, the one that wants to get you, as I mentioned earlier, right? Wants you to be comfortable, and yeah, no, it's an issue. I think that people are becoming more aware of it. I have hope that we'll get over this, and that this little rectangle we have in our pocket that has all this information becomes more of a tool than a menace. But right now we're I think, at a critical juncture for what that's going to mean.
Oh, and you're absolutely right. And I 100% agree with you. We have two issues. One of them is this hyper certainty. We're so certain about so many things. And then there's this hyper individualism that we can do things on our own and we don't need anybody and we can isolate. And I love the fact that you, with your work and your team, you're attacking both of those in some of the toughest areas. So I think this is wonderful. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I knew this was going to happen. I had so many other things I wanted to talk about. Maybe we can do this again in the future, but we could take the last couple of minutes for you to kind of leave people with how do they get involved and how do they help you with this work that you're doing that is just so wonderful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think if you want to follow the Give team, the best way to do that is through Instagram. We put a lot of our stuff out there, and we're at the Give team on Instagram. Our website is thegiveteam.org. So feel free to go out there and follow what we're doing. And feel free to get in touch with me by email. My email address is brad.mason at, and this is long, just keep pouring. So there are two P's in there, JUSTKEEPPOURING.com. And I welcome the conversations. If you're coming to Orlando, a lot of people come to Orlando to visit that fake mouse with the happiest place on earth. We've got real mice, and I can show you a place that the Chamber of Commerce won't tell you about, and we'll have a blast. And it'll only change your life, nothing more, nothing less.
This is fantastic. Brad, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for making the time. I will come and visit you as soon as I can. I definitely want to try those workouts, meet some of those kids. and see what can I do to shed more light to what you're doing to give you more resources so that you can continue to touch more lives.
I appreciate it, Raphael. I really do. Appreciate your time this afternoon.